All right, so it gives me great pleasure to welcome our final group that are going to share. And Judah Arts, the Judah Band, after the earthquakes kind of saw that there was a need for hope. And so what they did was, as a collective, we all used to hang out and we had like all the Musos, and then they were like, hey, our partners or our future partners can sing. And we know some poets in the community. Why don't we just set up a stage, get our awesome friends that sing, Billie Jean was one of them, and kind of invite them every 2 months. We'll put on the stage so that we can bring hope in the community. And so we used to have these Judah jams after the earthquakes. And so I thought, to close the evening, we might hear from the boys. They're going to share just a couple of things from their leadership kete that we can learn from them. This one? This one? Yep.
Hey, Dr. Jansen. Talofa, everybody. My name's Seta Timor, and what can I say? Yeah, that was just, I wanted to shave 3 minutes off my talk. But I'm just one of the sort of 4 members of the band. I play bass, obviously, and what I do in the band is sometimes tell some jokes here and there, and sometimes music direct. The reason why I wear my bass, because I feel naked when I'm not talking to anybody. So I'm sort of like every other creative around here likes to take that role at the back. So I thought bass was a good instrument to hide at the back there, but yeah, we're here. What can I say? I grew up in, just a little bit about myself, I grew up playing music in church, and everything I've learnt was just through listening and just catching my cousins and uncles and family singing. So I wasn't really formally trained until, 21. So a lot of it was just watching, learning, listening, and just catching a lot of amazing sort of harmonies, just grabbing it wherever I can. And and then I studied in 2000 and early 2000s, and I graduated in UC. I can't remember, it's too long. And I got my bachelor of music, and went through that, and went through Teachers College, and now I'm a teacher at Hayata Community Campus. So that's a little bit about my background, not too much, but I love it. So I was going to talk a little bit about being a music director and just some top of mind sort of things I think about. It is a little bit creative, but I think it's not really me building something. It's more being aware of the space we have in a band situation, how I navigate through that, and being kind to everybody, sort of, being a little bit diplomatic as such. So just about three things I think, or two things I've sort of thought about, and one of them is pretty obvious, is being prepared. And with me, I love to be sort of extra prepared when I turn up to rehearsals. Especially when I have to learn my part, and then I have to, in my mind, learn the parts of the piano, and not the whole part, but know what's going on in the piano part, know what's going on in the guitar lines, and sort of the rhythms of the bass. And the reason why I do this is it's sort of like a map where we come into rehearsals, and sometimes I know if something's missing on the map, I can just say politely, I think there's a string part there, or isn't it have that little strum? So that's me being sort of prepared, and the reason why as well is it's just getting that sound that I sort of envision in my mind as well. So that's that. Also, last year I think it was 2 years ago, we had the pleasure of backing Ginny Blackmore, right? Yeah. And that was really cool, and it's exciting, and it was really I was freaking out because I was the band director, so everything fell on me, and I was the pilot, and everyone had to. If the plane crashed, it was my fault. So me being that extra prepared, I made click tracks for her, and had extra synth parts, and just being really tedious with being organised at this gig. So we turned up, we had a rehearsal before we met with her, that we were on the right page. We turned up, and we played the song pretty much, really, really good. I thought it was really good. And then she just turned around and goes, oh, that's way too fast. You need to slow that down. So, in my mind, I got you. Had the click track there ready for Ronna, and let's do it again. And then she was fine with that. And, that for me, that's a sort of a win for me, and how professional she sees us as a band. And it's one incident. I mean, also, I've written heaps of things here, but Also being adaptable is another thing that I feel that's really crucial, especially working with a lot of different musicians and artists. If you don't have, some artists are not clued up on sort of theory and don't have the formal musical training, and you just need to adapt to that and work with what's in front of you, and just being open-minded about it, because music, I feel like there's no sort of right way to writing a song, or there's no sort of concrete path. A song could be written just with a drum beat, or written starting with the keyboards. So that's one thing, being adaptable to who you're working with, because and making them feel comfortable, and the artists we work with, they sort of come with an idea, and I try not to be what's the word? That my preference in her song is not the voice of where we're trying to lead her sound. Did that make sense? So I'm really cautious about what I'm doing, and not interfere with that pure sort of sound that she or he is looking for. So I love. It's good to also know a bit of theory, because it sort of helps the artist hear what they're trying to say. Theory is good. Building rapport is another thing. That's more geared towards me and the boys here, and any other band that I sort of come in contact with. When I graduated in 2000 and something, 2008, 6, 7, we went to, me and Daisy decided to leave New Zealand for a bit, and we went to Japan, which is cool, because that just blew my mind. Shot toy. It was cool, because it was right at the start of when we got married. It was cool because we got to know each other really quick. There was nowhere to go. If you got angry at me, there was no families to go to. So, at the time, I really missed playing with the boys, and I just signed up online to jam with a few guys, and I met some really amazing musicians over there, and this guy's name was Musos. He was a drummer, and he had a few other friends that we played with. So we met in town, we had a jam at this place called Noah Studios, where you could hire out these rooms, and it was cool. I got to know the boys a little bit, and I had a few gigs with them, and just through that, something cool happened. I wasn't really gelling with the drummer, and I wasn't really, we weren't locking in, we weren't in the pocket, we weren't grooving, and for the first few gigs, and a little bit later on we started hanging out, eating food and just chilling. I was just showing us around. He didn't speak any English, I didn't speak Japanese, so it was more smiling at each other and nodding. And then just one time we had a wedding, and we turned up, we played the gig, and I don't know what happened, but it just happened, that this pocket and that groove just fell in place. And after the gig, we both sort of felt it, and we were just both like hugging each other. I don't know why. We were hugging each other, and he turned around, and the guy that was sort of translating for us, he goes, "Oh, why did it come together now?" And when I was talking to Daisy about it, I remember what I said. I said, "Oh, because we know each other now." And it was like, wow, that rapport between me and him, not on stage, like we built this rapport away from the stage, and then we come on stage, and it was like, and so I think having a really good relationship with your band members, you really get a really great sound, like the sound that you might have heard just before. No, but so that was my a little wee spell on that. And I think that was just a couple of, I think, 3 things that really are top of mind when I'm thinking about band situation and how I navigate the vibe between us and the artists and the vibe between me and the boys. So thank you.